Delta 6, that's got you scheduled for number 2 bird this morning.
Guernsey BTS, Commodore Goodwill, message received, thank you.
Welcome back, this is Bailiwick and Guernsey Shipwrecks. I'm JP Falaise and this is the channel where we take you on a dive. Didn't do any filming of us coming out of the boat because, to be honest, it's probably wetter on the surface on the boat than it is down here. It's absolutely tipping it down. We're falling onto a nice soft sandy patch here, and all these little well, the holes are clams and all the other little bits are where the spider crabs have been walking around. Seen a couple of decent scallops, but none of them decent enough to take. And for some reason they're all out. It's probably because when the spider crab stand on them, they lift up and try swimming away. They think they're under threat. So we're diving in a southerly direction. There's hardly any tide. A little bit of relief. Nope, too small. It's always relief when I get the first one that's a keeper, and that one definitely is. A little bit happier now. Make sure it goes in my bag properly. So I'm sure I do lose some out of the bag once in a while. Well, that's another one of my excuses why I don't catch many. Don't know how she's managed to get 5. Maybe she's not messing around with a camera or filming. It is quite dark, and the visibility is, well, kind of, it's okay actually. Yes, it's dark, but you can still see quite far. Starting to see a lot more spider crabs now. And they're starting to look a little bit healthier than they have previously. There's another one out the sand. I say it's not mega rare to see them out the sand, but it's kind of weird when they do get out the sand. That noise you can hear in the background is one of the condors coming up to Little Russell. Because of the density of water, you can hear boats from miles away so clearly. Especially when they're detonating bombs and you're on the cement wreck and they're letting them off at Havelock. It's certainly scared me that time. Looks big enough, but I don't think it is. And to be honest, I'm not going to take it back to the surface, gauge it and then throw it back anyway, so I'll just leave it there. I'm sure it's too small. There's plenty of other creatures around here on the sand. Loads and loads of hermit crabs. And they range from like a little tiny one to, you know, ones in dog whelks that are 4 inches long. Check my eggs, I haven't checked that yet. 210. Loads of razor clam shells around here as well, so I take it there's razor clams underneath this sand. Tell you what, I've never really dug here, so I don't know what type of clams they are. Looks like a nice scallop, but I think it's empty. Yep. No scallop in it. Now it's a bit of substrate for a little bit of seaweed to grow. Oh, look at that. Nicked one. Right from under Michelle's nose. Oh well, at least I've got a couple now. That noise is getting louder and louder. Obviously it's getting closer. I don't even want to take that one. Even though it looks large enough, it probably won't scale properly because there's no shell. But that's another clam that's around here. Almond de mer. Or dog cockle, I think they're called. Just thinking, I haven't shown you what depth we're in yet. There we go, 11 metres. We've been told to keep heading west for now. Another one. Big enough? I don't think so. Put it back. quite typical for dives for us. We start off very dodgily, not many scallops, and then we come onto an area that probably hasn't been dived for a while, and we start seeing some scallops. Not sure what's going on with this pot. This looks like it was a store pot at one time because it's got a bit of plywood over the top here. Normally this is where you'd have your plastic neck. So not quite sure how someone's lost that, but there's nothing left inside, and nothing can get inside either, which is good. So we'll leave that there. I was expecting to see a reef soon, but I think we've probably gone a little bit too far west. We're in about 10 metres of water now, and the reef's around about 15 metres of water. There's some nice scallops here. Decent sizes. Some of them have got a little bit of weed on, so I take it that weed grows quite quick. The scallop only looks to be about 4 to 5 years old. Gotta go check this. We're quite close into where the moorings are at Fermain at the moment. You can see the gin palaces have managed to drop a bottle of Gordon's gin and what probably was a gin glass at one time. Maybe it broke on deck, so they just threw it overboard. Some would argue it's inert, so is it waste? I don't know. I'm not sure. I know the bottles get reused, but probably not with the cap still on. So you can see here where all the clams are starting to push all the water with the sand in out through the tops. There must be loads and loads of clams underneath here. Heading southwesterly now across Fermain Bay. There's loads of scallops, but they're all undersized. And this one might be okay. Yeah, that one's probably alright, but the other two are definitely under. Bigger than you think, but again, I think we're going to leave all these. They just look too close. They probably are 100mm, but we would rather get the 105mm plus, because the meat that's inside one that's only 5mm larger is significantly heavier than the 100mm ones. It's these sort of light levels I can't see too far forward, so normally you can kind of sense when a reef's coming up. Trying to navigate my way to it. I'm sure it's about southwesterly from here, but oh, there we go. As if by magic we've seemed to have come to the reef. There's a large reef in the middle of, well, I say large reef, it's not that actual large, but there's a load of rocks in the middle of Fermain. So these are them, and normally there's a wrasse hole in the middle of it. So I shouldn't really say this because I don't want people going out and fishing this little reef, but normally there's loads of wrasse, a big wrasse, a nice colourful wrasse, that swim around this reef in the middle of the bay. Plan now is just to skirt around the outside of it. I don't think there's going to be any scallops around the outside, or not too many, because divers tend to do that. They tend to come up to a reef, skirt around the outside. So that's like a like the epicenter of where they're going to catch all of their scallops. So one thing we normally do is, well, for one thing I normally do, is swim away so you can just see the reef on the edge of the vision. You tend to get more scallops further away from the reef. All the kelp is looking very sorry for itself now. Everything's covered in silt. notice the waves on the sand are getting larger because as the tide hits this reef it goes around the outside, a bit like the effect of a drawer on a chimney where it's got to travel over a longer distance, so you tend to get a faster current, so it changes the ripples on the sand. Very similar to how a wing on a plane works. So we're still got loads of air left because we're very shallow. I can do about 2 hours at this depth. And you can see this reef just stretches out. It's actually teetered out. I've never really swum this far. But you can see the sand as well. It's becoming a bit more ripply because of the way the tide is washing around. There's a couple of ormer shells here and there. Always looking up as well, so you can see there's a crab pot line. Better let Mish know. She's probably seen it already, but poses a bit more of a threat to me because basically my line goes back to the surface. My buffs are on the surface and come down to my reel on my left hand. So as long as I remember not to swim under it, I'll be fine. All small. So many small ones. Always good to see the small ones. Just be nicer to see some slightly larger ones. Getting shallower and shallower now. As I get around the other side of the reef, it will get deeper again. Always nosy. I like to have a little look in the pots. Never touch them. Obviously not lost. Looks like there's a good brown edible crab in there. And there's a lobster as well. We call the brown edible crab shankers. And it looks like both of them had an arm wrestle because neither of them have got claws. And we call the lobsters that have got no claws mobile phone because you can use them like a little mobile phone. That's interesting. Do you know what this is? It's a small anchor. It's been snapped in half. It's been down here a long time. This is the top of it. That would have gone on the top there. And that's the bottom. So someone obviously tried anchoring here at one time and pulled into the rocks and probably couldn't retrieve it. Loads of hidey holes for octopus, but I haven't seen any octopuses now on at least 2 dives, which is kind of good in a way. Someone did mention that they're actually marching north towards the UK. Not quite sure how true that is. Our water temperature at the moment is about 9 degrees. And they can easily survive down to 6 degrees, active down to 6. So I think the water is warm enough for them. Here's a feather duster worm. Basically that's the tail end of it. The worm lives in that long leathery pouch, and that's its tail, which is basically grabbing food out of the water column. And if you touch them, they quick suck themselves in because they're worried about getting damaged, having their tail bitten off. I haven't seen any wrasse yet, which surprises me because normally there is loads of wrasse on this reef. See the crab pots crossing over and going back to the surface. Not wrapped up in the reef, covered in dust. I don't think they've been pulled for a couple of days. I'm not quite sure if any of them was in that one. Look at the rock formation here, it's like slabs of it sitting up on edge. Kind of reminds me of the rock formation in Alderney, where it's all at 45 degrees. I haven't seen any scallops for a while either. Mind you, kind of expecting that anyway. Turn now to head south, and we're going along the southern side of this little reef. Plenty of these little jars around. Not quite sure how they get here, but somehow they do. Turn my lights off so you can see how dark it is. I mean, the camera's starting to struggle now, so probably easier leaving the torch on. Really surprises me I haven't seen any wrasse. Normally this is like a hot spot for them. Yes, our first one. It's a nice one. It's the ones I call the strawberry. And I've seen where it came from. It's under this rock. So this is the, I call them wrasse holes. I think I've just made it up. But yeah. Tend to find when you see wrasse, they tend to all congregate in one area. You'd get a matriarch, a large female, and then you get loads of other small ones around. And there won't just be ballan wrasse, there'll be all sorts, cuckoo wrasse, and so there's all sorts of different fish that congregate around this one large rock. You can see there, there's also some smaller ones. And this one I call a Coca-Cola. Not quite sure why. Kind of reminds me of a Coke float in a way. Some smaller cuckoo wrasse, and there's also a leopard goby in there as well. Oh, what was that below me? It's weird. I know what it is. So because all these young fry fish were there, another thing that was there, which is a predator, these are amazing. These are probably my favourite fish underwater. Well, are they fish? Probably not. These are my favourite thing underwater. Look at it, it's changed the shape and the texture of its skin to hide in with that, its background. Cuttlefish. So brainy. Tell you what's amazing, they even changed the shape of their eye, the texture of their eye. Time to move on. And now we can't bother to swim around the reef, we're just going to go over the top of it. And another thing that sort of surprises me is how does a spider crab get to the top of that stipe? Surely that hasn't climbed up that stipe. I thought it'd be too slippery, like a fireman's pole. Got a quick drop down now back into 12-13 metres. We're about 6 or 7 metres on top of the reef. Some bricks. I always check bricks. Bricks are quite good because you can almost date them or find out who the makers were. Let's try and dig one of these out and see what it says inside the frog. The frog is that indented bit inside. LBC, okay, not that old. 50s, 60s. LBC was a London brick company. I was half expecting to see a local name on it, but if there was a local name on them and it's a brick that I haven't seen before, I probably would have taken it back to the surface. I know, it's bad. Oh yeah, no, my missus doing the same thing. Bringing stuff home. Pure rubbish. This is quite interesting. I know exactly what it is already. It's a keel bolt. Let's see if it's bronze or not. The better ones are the bronze ones. And basically a keel bolt is the long bolt that holds well, the keel on a boat, and it's ballast. If it's got ballast underneath, sometimes they have big large chunks of lead underneath. It looks bronze, but there's a lot of concretions on it. And the reason that end's clean is because it was in that black silt. And the silt is got no oxygen in it. It's kind of dead, so you need oxygen for rust. That's why it's called iron oxide. But yep, I think there's nothing left there. Was this the site of a shipwreck? Probably not, because I think we'll be seeing a bit more stuff. I think and if it is, it's very modern if it's steel. Is this another one? No, I don't think it is. Another feather duster worm. Need a few more of them to filter all this silt out of the water. Loads of modern waste. Notice this, what this is? This is chain. Loads and loads of chain. It doesn't look like chain, I know, but it is chain. This was probably one of the moorings around here. It basically just got chucked onto the reef. I don't think it was off an anchor. I mean, it wouldn't be a very large ship if it was off an anchor. There's loads of it on the reef. Can you notice it? You can see it, big giveaways, the brown rusty bits at the bottom. There's quite a bit of it on this reef actually. Maybe you're thinking it was off a boat. There's quite a lot of it. Very hard to see. Well, another thing that I've just noticed, and don't ask me how I noticed it, for some reason my eyesight is tuned into seeing stuff that looks like a rock, doesn't it? So let's just pull it out and get it somewhere so you can see it a bit better. My bag isn't going to float away because it's got a big keel bolt in at the moment. The keel bolt will probably be going straight back in the sea. Can you see what this is? And the trick is this little bit here. It's full of sand at the moment and you can't really tell it. I need to move it actually because it's still a bit silty here. Let's move it to a different rock. Try and get out of the silt. You see it now? There's a hole right through the middle, so I'm going to take that back to the surface. I think it's quite interesting. Obviously it's just a rock with a hole in it, but I'll show Richard, see if he knows what it is. I think he definitely knows what it is. Just get Richard's opinion on it. There's another one there. There's a couple around here. I'm not going to take any more. Only want to take the one up. I'm not going to stop filling my bag with these stone anchors and take them back up. Bag's on away a ton now. I think I might take that keel bolt out. Oh, it's got a little M on the top. It's quite interesting. But I think it's definitely steel.
Oh, it's cold. This has been collecting shards. Not the biggest. Gotta admit. Oh look, stone anchor! Yay! Been after one of these in my collection for a while. And I thought that was bronze on the end, but it's steel. It did have a little M on the end, I think. But yeah, look at this, stone anchor. Oh my god, it's like a caveman's chiselled it. Let's get it out. Is it old? A rock's a million years old. Let's take it to Richard and see what he thinks. I can just barely pick this thing up. Can you see through it?
Oh, damn it, in the old days we used to use those as weights for our long lines, eh?
And what about smuggling?
Could be. We need to take a little chip of rock and see where it come from.
Yeah. Get it analysed. Oh, let's put it somewhere in the back. Looks like some child's made the hole.
Yeah, yeah. Probably a fisherman then.
I'm not sure I'd fancy making a hole in the rock there.
No, oh, when did it take hours? Take hours.
What are you thinking?
What are we thinking for the second one, Richard?
Three brothers.
Oh yeah, Three Brothers, I like that one.
You know, it's dead slack. Provided you don't go north, there's always a little picking in there if you want a little picking not too deep.
I'm up for the Three Brothers.
Wherever.
The 12 gruns. We've done it before, Matt, remember? We've done it in an evening once.
Yeah, they had pipes.
That was pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it was.
Jeffrey normally goes there.
Yeah.
Hooves them all up.
Alright, we'll do that for a second then. Someone a bit quirky.
Oh, there's your gear on there.
We're going to go over there, so I'm going to keep my same tank on and get straight back in. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with these deformities. Look, it's like they've got some sort of deficiency, calcium deficiency.
He's been nibbled by something.
Or, yeah, maybe. That one's got it as well. I looked at it and thought, I'm not going to pick that up. They're going back. Live another day. Sort my gear out and then let's get in the water over there. 13?
18?
Oh, I was going to say. Chuck one back if you get 13. It's unlucky. Matt done a little bit better than us. So we got 28 there. It's not 2 dozen. We're going to go straight back in because it's so cold. It's a seagull staring at the scallops. You have to wait.
Sometimes this area we do quite well. It's a cheeky little area that Jeff normally goes in, so normally the scallops are all gone. He hasn't been in here for a couple of months, so I've got high hopes. That look like a bomb to you? Looks like a bomb to me. Let's take a closer look. Don't worry, I know what it is already. I've seen there's a few around this area, so I know it's just a dive tank. I don't think they paint bombs yellow. There should be a neck down here somewhere. And don't worry, there's no diver attached to this, so it's all good. It's just a tank. When Richard dropped us in, he gave us strict instructions. We must head down between Oyster Rock and Castle Cornet. I know what the bearings are because I looked at my compass while I was on the boat. So it's just a matter of going southwesterly. About there somewhere. Oh, it's already looking pretty good. The size of these. 2, 3. All huge as well. Starting off pretty good. Ah, can you see that? Look how well camo it is. Oh, that one's an absolute beaut. It's got iridescent all over it. Definitely not scared of me, otherwise it would have swum off. Looks like Michelle's found something. Let's go over and take a look. That hand gesture meant that she had went to put her hand down to pick a scallop up, and it looks like she's grabbed a fish. Can anyone guess what that is? They'll let the dust settle a little. I'm sure this fish was designed by the devil himself. They are just not scared of you. They're so grumpy. It's a monkfish. Yes, normally these are found well in the deep, but for some reason all these smaller ones come right up in the shallows, and we're only sort of 10-11 metres of water here, so it really is shallow. Along this coast we do see probably 5 or 6 a year. Out on some of the shipwrecks around the 30-metre range we do see them a lot bigger than this. Look underneath his chin, he's got like mimicked bits of seaweed. He's also got a few spines on the top of his head. They're not sharp, they just look like seaweed. And then also when you get right and close to their eyes, they look like little emeralds when you're shining the torch inside them. Probably ideally suited for dark places. He has got a little fishing rod as well, which is still laid flat to the top of his head. Can you see it just between his eyes? It's almost like a little worm's tail, which he uses to attract fish in. And what they do is they've got 2 separate sets of teeth. They've got the ones on the outside you can see, and then once they latch onto a fish with that, they've got another set of jaws on the inside towards the back of the mouth that come forward and take chunks off of you. So, believe me, you don't want to get your hand stuck in one. It's actually a nice, tasty fish, to be honest, but all you eat is that little tail on the back. Basically cut the large head off. Just behind the 2 hand-like fins. I've seen Richard catch one of these before and get it on the boat, and it was like a bloodbath the time he'd finished. Oh, that's nice of him. He led me into another scallop. Just goes to show how small it is. I know that's a big scallop, but that is quite a small fish. Certainly not the smallest I've seen. Try to cover him in sand again. Absolutely perfect camouflage for this type of seabed. Probably look at a place of his on nice white soft sand. Right, messing around with this fish isn't getting Richard some scallops, so we better pull it out and carry on. Unfortunately I had to turn off the camera there because I was starting to get a little bit embarrassed with the amount of numbers I had, so I had to stop recording and quick fill the bag up as fast as I could. It was a second dive, so it was only really a bounce dive. We only had 90 bar left. But I think we done okay. But now we're both absolutely freezing. Didn't quite make it there. There's Oyster Rock to the left, and behind me should be Castle Corner. And in fact, we're a little bit closer than I was expecting. And it's raining again.
Oh, not bad.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all. Not bad for one tank.
That was one tank.
Yeah, same as us, one tank. 35, I'm happy with that. And there's some in the harbour for next Christmas now. Not bad. It's got 2 boxes. Beautiful. All back in the harbour by, what's it, 10:30? 10:30. When do we go out? 8:30, 2 hours, that's got to be a record. And I think it's just before the rain's going to get heavy.
As always, I really appreciate you coming along for the dive, and I'll catch you on the next tide.